All right, Shalom, Shalom. First things first, I want to give all honor and praise unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, HaKodash. Say, Barakat Yahweh, Barak Yahushai, Barakat Yahweh, Barak Yahushai, Barakat Yahweh, Barak Yahushai, Ba'ashem, HaKodash. And we give double honors to our apostles and our elders, which are the apostle elders, a great millstone, which feed us with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Yahushai, 2025, which is the hopeful year of our deliverance and the judgment and the destruction of Esau. Let's jump into this lesson. The title of this lesson is Roman Praetorian Guard back as the alphabets. All right, Roman Praetorian Guard back as the alphabet. Okay, and you already know the name and the names of them. All right, the three letters. All right, you got the deeps. What does it say? Feds and different things like that. And he'll speak on it. This is a video. The inspiration from this for this lesson came from this video I was watching. I posted some of it going into Scott Ritter of bringing out the information about the feds and different things like that. That they're they're pretty much a rogue agency. All right, that they don't answer to nobody. They're doing their own thing. And what came to my mind was the Praetorian Guard going back to the Roman Empire. This is more proof that this is Rome coming back again. All right, so if this is the Roman Empire reincarnating itself as the United States, Babylon the Great, then you would have to have the Praetorian Guard somewhere. You know, they would have to be in the same what does it say? In the same aspects that they were back in the history. So you would just have to find an agency and compare it, and I did that. So this is more proof to solidify that this is Rome all over again. Okay, history repeats itself because reincarnation is something that these Christians, these people that are out in the church and certain organizations religiously don't believe in, that they don't subscribe to. That's why they don't have the full understanding. They don't have the breath. They don't have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that's been given through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right. That's why we say call halal all praises that the Lord has chosen us to open our mind to these things. Just like men, Daniel was opened up to dreams, and he was the one that was able to break it down. So not all men have the power to be able to break certain things down. Okay, these dreams, and because actually we're breaking down the same way that Daniel was breaking down, because Daniel broke down the statue to Nebuchadnezzar and told him what was getting ready to take place and what he was shown. We're doing the same thing, and we're interpreting Daniel's vision again and breaking it down in different ways to show the modern day ways of where we're at according to that statue. All right, going into EU, NATO, partly strong and partly weak. So if you see this is history repeating itself too. Same thing as societies come back, prophets come back. That's why the Lord told prophets, said you will stand in your lot again at the end of days. All right, told John that he will prophesy again. All right, the Lord said, he said, I knew you when I formed you in the belly, I knew thee. How did the Lord know somebody in the belly? Because they were reincarnated. That was not their first life. This is not our first life. Okay, so Lord willing, we be a part of that glorious number and to be a part of the prophets and in the company of prophets the Lord has sent back in these last days. So I'm going to play this first part. Listen to this information because he had in this guy, Scott Ritter. He was what was it? He was scouted. All right. He tried to get a job in the deep state, the CIA, and they told him that he couldn't work there because he couldn't lie. Okay. So just watch this part, and then I'm going to go ahead and find and pull out some precepts. That way we can go through this information and filter it through the scriptures. Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson and more proof that this is the Roman Empire all over again.
Otherwise, there is a branch of the CIA which is truly deep state, which truly operates on its own, which truly takes taxpayer funds and engages in all kinds of behavior, lethal and surveillance, without the knowledge and consent of the president or their lawful superiors.
The problem is, Judge, there's a founding document dated back to 1947, NSC 10-2, which creates the Special Activities Department within the CIA, and it's tasked with carrying out covert operations, deniable.
That's why you think they haven't tried to infiltrate this truth. This is the greatest thing on the planet Earth. This is the greatest, and a lot of those, and if you look into the information, if you go back to Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley he worked for the not the KGB, but the NSA, if I'm not mistaken. He worked for the Secret Service over there in England. Okay, I can pull it up. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, let's do this. Watch this. Aleister Crowley, the famous occultist and mystic, is also known for his alleged role as a secret agent for British intelligence. So a lot of these guys that are in that alphabet, they're Satanists. They don't have no kind of moral compass, if you want to say that, because this guy, he dubbed himself the most wickedest man living in his generation, and he was a secret agent. All right, and just setting the tone, because I was doing a little research on the guy. Okay, let's keep reading. It says some biographers suggest that he was a spy throughout his life. Historian Richard B. Spencer argued in his book Secret Agent 666 that Aleister Crowley was a key figure in events like sinking the Lewiston and overthrow of the Spanish government. So this guy was wicked as hell, man. And if you just do your research on him, you'll see a lot of wickedness that this guy was doing. He was into Egyptian cult worship. So you guys that are into that so-called black conscious and Egyptian Hotep, all that BS, a lot of that, Aleister Crowley was behind that. He was one of those guys that he was obsessed with it. All right. So that's showing you going back to those Babylonian witchcraft, magi magic. It was back then. It's still under the underlying belly when it comes to the secret society. At the end of the day, the Lord's about to do something to these people, man. All right. They wrote a check that they ass can't cash. All right. They wrote a spiritual check. Now the debt collector, all right, the Lord is going to send the ultimate debt collector, which is Yahweh Shai, all right, which is what you would call a so-called Negro today, all right? He's coming out of the tribe of Judah, and he's going to put in fucking work, man. The days of wickedness on the planet Earth are coming to an end, all right? That's why it says they devil coming down, having great wrath, knowing that he hath but a short time. What is a short time? The shot clock, the prophecies, man. And the Lord is moving this goal line. Esau don't want to move it. He's playing a game that he's lost. So he has to play the game out. You can't, no, my boy. You can't stop playing game of chess in the middle of it. You got to take that L. You got to take that L. Because now when he's seen the prophets on the highways and byways, he knows it's a wrap. He knows it's a wrap. And the same thing what the Lord told Satan when he was tempting Job. He said, do what you got to do, but don't take his life. So who controls this man doing so-called covert ops? And even if they sending spies amongst the truth, that's on them. You're gonna be found out. You sided with the wrong side, man. The Lord is gonna get this man. You're gonna be got with him. And the Lord says anything done in secret shall come to the light. So there ain't no covert ops in this truth. All right, the Lord but its history repeats itself, because going back to the Sadducees and Pharisees, they sent spies amongst the disciples to spy out their liberty in Yahweh Shai. That's what the scriptures tell us. So it ain't nothing new. You coming back to serve the same spies back then as the same spies back today. All right, you serving out your lot, and you're gonna be judged now. Same thing with your masters, the ones that sent you. Who sent you, Nick? So it's over with. But that's just the point. A little segue to this lesson. So let's keep listening.
Operations, meaning that they stay right in the legislation that the CIA must construct these operations so that if they are uncovered, they are deniable to the United States. This means that the CIA, by its very nature, goes so deep and restricts information flows so much that they can, from the standpoint of a covert operator, and I can tell you this with 100% certainty, CIA directors come and go. Most CIA directors are political in nature. They're not operators. And so now I'm running this operation that's been going on for 10 years, and I got a CIA director there, and I look at him and say, I don't agree with his politics. I don't agree with the president's politics. we're going to continue to do this operation. We're not telling anybody about anything. And they've been doing that since they were founded. The CIA is the deep state. The only way you handle Russia House is to eliminate the CIA in totality. And frankly speaking, arrest most of the case officers out there because they're not good Americans. These are liars, cheaters. I was recruited by the Special Activities Division of the CIA. And I remember one of my final interviews with the recruiter was a veteran guy, Vietnam, doing Honduras, door kicker out of Honduras, covert ops during the Gulf War. And we were talking, he said, we really want you. We really like you. But he said, the problem is you can't lie. And he said, if you're going to work for us, you got to lie about everything. You got to lie to your wife. You got to lie to your friends. You got to lie to your boss. You got to learn to cheat the polygraph because you can't tell the polygraph half the stuff you're doing because you're going to go out there and you're going to be living a lie. And he said, you're too honest. Thank you for applying, but we can't take you. The CIA is full of liars. These are cheaters. These are alcoholics. These are drug users. They're gangsters. And when we dissolve the CIA, we've got to actually make sure we deal with these people properly, or else they'll go out and do horrible things.
See? So you heard all that. Now this is coming right from the proverbial horse's mouth. He was almost recruited, and they said, "You can't lie good. We can't trust you to lie and do what you need to do to be an operator." So that shows you how wicked you got to be on the left hand side. And we ain't, the Lord gonna get these guys, man. The Lord, that's why it says we ought to obey God rather than men. It says, fear not man that can kill body, but the Most High that can kill body and spirit, because He's going to put them in bondage, man. We ain't dealing with if you co-sign to this society, you were co-signing to the devil, man. Bottom line, lock, stock, and barrel. You got a 501c3 charter. You don't want to push the name of the Lord. You don't want to do what the scriptures are saying. You want to do your own thing. You want to mangle up the scriptures. You siding with the devil, man. This is the devil we're dealing with. We're not dealing with some Boy Scout, Girl Scout cookie selling. Yes, Esau is a very stale person, but at the end of the day, David said it the best: hide me from the wicked, which is thy sword. This is a sword of the Lord, man. This is a perfected sword of the Lord on the left-hand side. He's built for this, man. That's why it says the scripture where it says he doesn't go to sleep until he make somebody to fall. That's who he talk though. That's that main inception over there, man. Though who do you think is gonna be in the bunkers? They have the access to the dark funds and the money that nobody knows about, and they're able to do the things that average people, politicians that have a 4-year tenure, or 8-year tenure as a president. These people been in there for years, going back to the Praetorian Guard. All right, and I'm gonna show you the comparisons that they made from the AI. Okay, when you put two and two together, you can clearly see that this is the Roman Empire coming back again, man. So let's go ahead and here we go. I said, let's see. I said, give me an outline and comparison of the Roman Praetorian Guard and the U.S. CIA federal agencies, scriptures and examples from the Bible and history showing comparisons between the two. All right, and I said, and this is the results I got. He says, here's a structure outline of comparison between the Roman Praetorian Guard and the U.S. intelligence agency, incorporated historical, biblical, and modern parallels. Origins: the Praetorian Guard, established by Augustus in 27 BC, an elite military unit. And what are these guys? They're operators. That's what, because Ritter was an operator. He was into military. He was a former what does it say? Investigator, or he looked for nuclear weapons, pretty much. Okay. No, I told you right there. What is this? Weapon inspector? It says elite military unit to protect the emperor and maintain imperial stability. And what did the guy told you was an exception, so where they could do certain covert ops where the U.S. could have plausible deniability. That's why the movies always show us that if you get caught, you burnt. We will deny any knowledge of you or anything that you were doing. We don't know what the hell. We will deny you. That's every spy movie ever out. And where do you get these movie directors and a lot of them was the small hats. So they tied in and juiced in with them. That's why they're able to make movies that are right on line with their doctrine and their what does it say? Their what's the word for a business's outline? Okay, so they know exactly what it takes to make a movie concerning these secret agencies because they got to do research. Okay, and it says involved from a bodyguard force into a political power broker. See, capable of disposing and appointing emperors, Claudius Nero. Okay, and it's not, and look who's back. Guess who's back? Okay, and you see Nero's back. So this is not a coincidence. It says U.S. intelligence agency created post World War II, CIA 1947 to gather foreign intelligence and protect national security. Same thing. See? Critic argued they've overstepped into domestic politics akin to Guard's role of imperial succession. Biblical parallels. They went off on the biblical parallels, but we'll just go to the power and influence. Praetorian Guard controlled Romans' political fate, assassinating emperors, e.g., Caligula, Seleucia, and demanding financial bribes. Domovote for loyalty. So, what do you think the black budgets are? The military has a large money deposits, and a lot of those go into these covert things. That's why they came out with that American aid thing with Elon Musk, which that was all set up. That was all fluff and puff, okay? Because a part of their magic is they have to let you know they're doing certain things, or they can't do it. So that was just a way for them to increase their magic powers, because there was no uproar, there was no torches lit. Nobody really did anything about it. They're just going to make a new agency and funnel the money that way. So nothing really came out of it. Everybody knew about it and nobody did shit. There's no court trials. There's nobody getting imprisoned. So they pretty much say, shit, we got away with it. It was a shock and awe type of thing, but then everybody went back to docile and sleep. So nothing really came out of all that information. It says their barracks centra praetorian symbolize state power. State power. U.S. agencies accused of deep state interference, surveillance of political candidates, 2016 election, and internal leaks. Sector Senators Schumer's warning of Trump's. They have 6 ways from Sunday they get back at you. They're getting at Sunday at getting back at you. And who was he talking about? Okay. It says historian parallels it says both groups wielded unelected power. The guards overthrow the Partnax AD 93 for auctioning the throne's comparisons to modern allegations of bureaucracy coups. Okay. Loyalty and corruption. Praetorian Guard loyalty shifted with incentive. Nero's downfall came when the guard abandoned him. See? Because what it he's saying is that they're doing certain ops that the president don't know about. That's why when they asked him about the assassination attempt on Vladimir, the guy said he didn't know. They didn't even tell him, or he's plausible deniability. Okay? Because that is something that's covert ops. What they did with the drone strikes, that was a covert op. That was a covert intelligence. And Britain is in that too. England's in that too. So it's all a part of the same beast. Okay, you got the American branch and you got different branches across the world. All right, by the world, the way of NATO, EU, all of those agencies have their secret units, which is they all work together in the secret with the secret. I show you in these spy movies, John Wick and all these different movies. Some are fiction, they're all fictional, but they're based upon reality. Okay, became a sword and shield for imperial whims, not the republic. See? U.S. agencies, critic claims partnership, e.g., Fed handling the Clinton email investigation, CIA role. Let's go down here, and it says aspects, Praetorian Guard, U.S. agencies, leadership, Perfectus Syngeus, director, AGCIA director. See, they have the same type of leadership. Methods: military force, assassination, surveillance, covert ops. See? Minimal answered only to the emperor, oversight by Congress, but often criticized. Dissolved by Constantine for tyranny, calls for reform, abolishing it. So this thing is coming down the wire, man. Okay? Listen, lessons for scriptures and history, Proverbs 29:12. If a ruler listens to lies, all his officials become wicked. Both groups risk corruption when truth is secondary to power. Okay, Paul's witnesses, Philippians 1:12-14. Despite chains, Paul's integrity and influence the guard, a model to reform modern agencies. Nah, they ain't happening. See, they go off. They going off, okay? But the main point is there that the wicked, hold on, let's see here, cause some to fall. It's the book of Proverbs 4 and verse 16. This is where you can get the covert op scripture, okay? This is NLT. For evil people can't sleep until they have done their evil deed for the day. They can't trust, they says they can't rest until they've caused some to stumble, okay? That's the wicked. That's at least some parallels. Psalms 36:4, even on his bed he plots wickedness. He sets himself on a path that is not good. He fails to reject evil. And I showed you earlier that Aleister Crowley was an agent. He was an operator. And you see the wickedness that he's did. He was wicked as hell, man. All types of wickedness. And the list goes on. And I don't like talking about the guy, but he comes up every so often. But you can see his whole aura and demeanor. When you see his post photo, you like, shit, that nigga wicked. Micah 2 and verse 1, woe to those who deceive, devise iniquity, and plot evil on their beds. And a lot of the Lord is talking about these deep states, man. All right? These average Edomites, these Miller Coors drinking six-pack Edomites, they don't know what the fuck going on, man. That's why the Lord said that we shall enter into the gates of the nobles. We enter into the gates by way of what? Really, you got the super elites, but who are they? Who are their underlings? Who are their workers? These agencies. That's why the apostles and elders have said that they've sent spies among us, which the Lord, hey, that it happened to in Tommy Yahushai. Why wouldn't it happen now? Okay? It says, woe to those who devise iniquity and plot evil on their beds, and morning light they accomplish it, and because the power is in their hands. Isaiah 57:20-21, but the wicked are like the storm-tossed sea, for it cannot be still, and its waves churn up mire, mud, dirt, muck, dirtiness. There is no peace, says my power, for the wicked. Okay? Their feet are swift to shed blood. Romans 3:15-17. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and misery lie in their wake. And the way of peace they have not known. Come on, man. That's talking about the average Edomite. You like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't think they be no. Yes, they don't know, but you got to think who the inner workings. That's the tip of the spear we're speaking about. If we want to break it down, because the average Edomite, especially these politicians, they in and out, and they just want money anyway. They just get fucked up. They get high, and they're corrupt on that level. But when you go into the deep muck of it, these people are doing all types of killing, subverting, poisoning, all types of shit. Even the Russians. The Russians KGB. Putin was ex-KGB. Okay? It says Isaiah 59:7-8, their feet run to evil. They are swift to shed innocent blood. See? Their thoughts are sinful thoughts. Ruin and destruction lie in their wake. In the way of peace they have not known, and there is no justice in their tracks. They have turned them into crooked paths. No one who treads on them will know peace. Damn. Come on, man. Come on, man. And you brothers can go through the scriptures, go through this information. But I just wanted to bring that out and show that this is more proof that this is the Roman Empire and the Praetorian Guard is back by way of these alphabet agencies and different things like that. But the Lord is coming back to get them, man. All right? That's why the Lord is going to do such damage. Who has perished being innocent? Babylon ain't innocent. This world ain't innocent. That's why the Lord is going to call forth the elect, beam the elect up in a big, huge fathership, and these agencies know it's real. They know these UFOs are in the house. They in the crib, man. It says if thief cometh by night, that they hear, and that's our military. All right. And the elect is the Green Berets and the real soldiers of the nation, man. That's why we're doing it spiritually now with spiritual power by way of breaking down these prophecies, because it says Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. So we're pushing Yahweh Shai's name. We're exalting that and saying our king is coming. All right. And he sent out just like he sent Joshua. Okay. The elect, those are the ones that are down here fighting without weapons, without we just got the scripts and the knowledge. Just like Rambo would go out to the woods and he become a Rambo didn't use weapons, he became a weapon. Whatever he used, he perfected it. Bows, guns, knives, punji sticks, he make traps. That's the same thing with the elect. We came down, we dropped down into the wilderness, into the muck with nothing but our wits, man. All right. That's why it says you shall be going to many nations. All right. Thou my battle axe and my weapons of war. What do you think the Lord was talking about? He's talking about his men, Israelites. Now, namely the elect. So remember that scripture. We ain't weak. We're seen weak because we're in this flesh, but the Lord is going to turn up the elect, right, by way of spiritual power. And then there's no more breakdowns. There's no more pleading with you. It's a sword then, man. What the Lord to Ezekiel says, start with the ancient of day, the ancient of the people. All right. They baking cakes, Tammuz, and you co-signing with this nation this time. That's what Israel was doing back then. But it was idols in form of Roman Empire. That's why Yahushua said, you of your father, the devil, man, and the lust of you would do. All right. So the main point is there. I just wanted to bring that information out. With that, I say call hello, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Until the next time, I say shalom, and more on that and never keep faith. Shalom.